Look at that. Top 128, top 64 in Sao Paulo, top 64 in LA, and a top 128 NAIC. So has been on a tear through these last season and this season already.
Yeah, so many regional championships for Caleb, trying to stack up one more here, including all those IC events too. And for Cali, wow, the results are strong, but of course, if you can add a finalist or championship to your name, it's even better. But it's impressive that we saw in the interview from Cali the confidence about this matchup. Undefeated through gameplay in all tournaments when they are playing the Regidrago deck. Is that going to remain true? Caleb's going to try to say something about that.
It almost feels like a final boss scenario that you're facing down. I mean, look at Caleb's accomplishments here. It's not even the titles, it's just numbers and X's.
you don't get to know where he's been.
4 times, 2 times. I mean, that's wild to see here for Caleb. So, but as we heard from Cali from that interview, not only feeling super favored in the mirror match, but also is the most fun. So we're hoping to have some fun here in this top 4 match. We're gonna get it kicked off very soon once both our players get set up here. Looks like they're gonna work in stages here. They gotta get that basic Pokemon out. They gotta lay out their prize cards and continue on. The stakes are really high, so we're all gonna keep very watchful eyes on the boards here. Oh, did you see the deck box over there?
I did not. Look at that.
There was like a little Pokemon in the window. I didn't get to see what it was. Maybe a lucky Pokemon. Let's take a look at these prize cards here for our players. I mean,
right, so yeah, we see the Hisuian Gudra V-Star here for Cali, and a couple pivotal cards there for Caleb if the aggression of that opening turn for the Squawk ability was available. It is not anymore.
Wow, well, there you go. That's the prize cards our players are going to have to work with here. I knew it. It was a Shaman level X in the deck box. You see it right there? It's right there.
Shaman is a cool Pokemon. That might not be the best card we've ever seen for Shaman, though.
Oh,
do what you want, though, buddy.
Dissing the Shaman here, Kyle.
It's a great choice, but not the right card.
Well, Caleb's going to choose to go second here, starting off this matchup. We're kicking off our Masters Top 4 here in Toronto. The stakes are so high here. It's a mirror match. Regidrago V-Star. We're so used to seeing this. I mean, we just saw this at LAIC.
Yeah, this is something we see plenty of. For this setup, however, a little frustrating for Caleb to start that Radiant Charizard. So often, this is one of those detriments that happens in this matchup. Yeah, you have a single prize Pokemon in the active spot, but you don't like losing that Pokemon early. You don't like how awkward it can be, especially if your opponent plays it a little slower, which is something that Cali tends to do.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you start it and you're like, okay, cool. Got to work through this now.
Well,
great.
I can't go fast.
Yeah, I can't go fast. We're going to take one step behind here. I would presume, Kyle, would you say so yourself, that going fast in this matchup, pretty good, huh?
It can be, but there's also some benefits to slowing down the pace. It's about picking your spots, and if you can find opportunities to press your advantage without overextending or using that Legacy Star, sure. I'm all for taking the opening prize cards.
Well, we've seen the way Cali has played this Regidrago V-Star has been exceptionally conservative in the last match that we saw when Cali was on stream. So I'm interested to see if that's kind of the same way that we see this time. A Teal Mask Ogerpon is going to get a Teal Dance energy and then just an energy attachment for the turn as well. And that is it that's being established there on this first turn for Cali.
No benching of the Regidrago V. That is difficult to see. It means at least a turn 3 clock for Cali, and also the pressure that can be placed on single-placed Regidrago Vs from this point forward is pretty brutal to follow along with. We'll see if Caleb has the resources, starting with that Terra Orb, so can find a Pokemon.
It looks like a Pokeball.
You're still on this?
Yeah, it doesn't find any Pokemon.
I'm sure a trainer could throw this. Is that what qualifies as a ball?
No, I think that actually is. In VG, that's what they throw to Terra the Pokemon. You know what I mean? So I think that's what gives them the little hat.
All right, you can have it.
All right. Hey, either way, this is going to net Caleb a nice little Terra Pokemon. Are you familiar with any Terra Pokemon in this Regidrago list? How about some Teal Mask Ogerpon?
Yeah, there's
action?
the green guy, green guy that almost briared itself to victory. That would have been pretty sweet, and it's not something that pops up in this game, but having that additional energy on board, so beneficial. Even that one energy you draw, or the one card you draw, rather, can be the difference between a good hand and a great hand.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that in our last game with Teal Mask Ogerpon. It was just on the Raging Bolt side, getting those draws into that last Pokemon catcher. It helps out just as much here in Regidrago decks to get that support and to accelerate the energy to be able to energy switch and line up those attacks as well. So Caleb is looking pretty calm, cool, collected. He is no stranger to our stream table. I feel like we've seen him back-to-back. Of course, just seeing him in Kentucky, in Louisville, where he took everything down, defeating Lost Box and Michael Davidson in the finals. Looking to get there again with Regidrago this time around.
A very different road than Caleb had the last time, running over everybody with the Raging Bolt. Has to work for these wins a little more with the Regidrago, but it's worth it. You have plenty of opportunities to try to outplay your opponents, but this hand in particular doesn't give you that. You don't even have an additional basic Pokemon.
It's almost like mirroring the board states at this point.
Yep, and I think the decision's made for you here. If you didn't want to lose the resources then, you certainly don't now when you draw Prime Catcher.
Huge.
Iono seems good, but your opponent didn't do anything.
Yeah, that is tough. It's just going to be playing the Prime Catcher that was just drawn into here for Caleb. So using the resource, and then we are throwing some cards away and jumping back into the deck. 7 cards to the hand. We're going turbo mode, Kyle. Are you about it?
It worked out. If the hand didn't look like this, maybe I would have been slightly more appalled. But your opponent did not show you any resources. You draw into not only the Regidrago, but the Cleffa itself. Another nest ball. This is a full board with a retreat into a Cleffa, drawing up the hand and preparing for a turn 2 attack. It all worked out. You just lost a few resources along the way.
Yeah, lost a couple resources, but taking the edge in this game so far. Exactly what you said, Kyle. Cali didn't put much on the board in that turn 1. So Caleb wants to kind of take the pace of the game in his direction. I can't with you, Kyle. First you want to play fast, then you're scared to play fast. You're too wishy-washy for me.
I really was thinking about Iono when I saw all the resources, and then it just, once this worked out, sure, you can have it. This,
you're like, oh, well, it worked out, so it's fine.
You didn't tell me we were going to draw Cleffa.
Never punished.
Yeah, that's pretty good. If we had Cleffa down, it'd be a little different.
That's true. That is true. Well, Cleffa is now right there in the active position. Just a little 30 HP Pokemon, but you've seen how much Cleffa has helped. And look at that. So many cards drawn to the hand here for Caleb as we pass the turn. Well, not pass the turn because the Grasping Draw is the end of the turn here from Caleb. Huge hand. Cali White on the other side is dealing with a smaller hand than that. And of course, after a very lackluster turn 1, is it going to be equally as lackluster here? What do you think, Kyle?
Well, now another decision. Is it Research or is it Iono? Your opponent just refilled their hand up to 7, so at least giving them 1 less resource seems to make sense. If you play down that Iono, you can start to find a little more help. You have a free retreater in the active spot. Can you be as blessed to find the basic Pokemon this time?
Well, we've been talking about the aggression versus the conservative play. Cali is going with the Iono this time around. I mean, Caleb had a huge hand as well there, so each of our players are going to have fresh 6 cards after they shuffle and put those hands to the bottom of the deck. And we're going to draw into a lot of Pokemon here if you're Cali's side.
That will work. You see the Regidrago, the
Ultra Ball, discard them.
Discard the Kyurem. So at least 2 more Pokemon to hit the board at this point, and then a nice refill of the hand with the Cleffa. And this is where players have felt comfortable asking to go second in this matchup. And we saw Caleb actually won the coin flip, wanted to go second, because although, yeah, you could promote a single prize Pokemon and avoid your opponent going for a really aggressive setup, you just want to buy time. You want to promote that single prize Pokemon, set up a board state that's not nearly as vulnerable, and then start to make that exchange.
Well, Cali White has been championing the mirror match and how it's super favored toward their deck. What do you think? What's the reason for that, Kyle? It's both fun and can take things away. What do you think the strategy is behind that?
It depends on if you feel comfortable going behind in matchups. If you have an opportunity to watch your opponent overextend, and then you pick that pivotal spot, and you're comfortable in those
Capitalize
spots,
on it.
Go ahead. And we see the great players are capable of doing that. They allow their opponent to think they have the advantage and press on, and then you're waiting in the wings for them. We see Cali thinking about that with the second Regidrago V. This is an opportunity for an aggressive player like Caleb in this spot to target down the Regidrago V, remove it from play, and be very aggressive. So have that secondary plan ready to go.
I like that a lot. It's almost playing mind games out here on the field between our players and severely keeping track of our resources as well. It's almost like turning the tables in your favor just from how well you know the boards on both sides. Pretty cool here. Caleb Gedemer, of course, churning through this turn here, accelerating some energy with the teal dance on the Ogre Pond to draw into some additional resources. Regidrago V-Stars now on board. I wonder if we can just take bets who's going to use their Legacy Star first.
If I had to put my money down, I'd say Caleb. I don't think it's happening just yet, but Cali loves to hold on to that Legacy Star to close out games. And if you can use your resources efficiently, maybe have that second Prime Catcher, fifth energy switch, whatever it may be, that's the way to find those little advantages here.
Mm-hmm. Take the turns. I do feel like
this
is, oh my gosh. Whoa, Kyle, we thought wrong here. Thought it was going to be held out a little bit, but Caleb Gedemer is going to use this Legacy Star right away here, discard these 7 cards, and retrieve some resources already. Did you see anything super big in the discard? It's that energy switch.
Yeah, energy switch there, and the Prime Catcher probably has to join the hand as well. It's too valuable a resource at this point. But this is what Cali was expecting. You see the second Drago there. It's not as vulnerable in this spot, but sometimes taking early prize cards or pressing the advantage can do just that and help you out.
Yeah, this is pretty traditional picks here. In that energy switch that was found off the discarded 7, which is cool. And then the Prime Catcher. This is huge. I mean, to be able to recycle your resources is so wild. And that's one of the reasons that people say this deck feels illegal almost to play. Because as we see here now, the energy switch to the Regidrago V-Star. The Prime Catcher played once again in the same game. And it's going to be Gudra V-Star as the attacker here, copied from that Apex Dragon off the Regidrago V-Star. That means there's going to be some damage reduction here on that Regidrago V-Star. 80 less damage from attacks, and it's put a nice cool 200 on that Regidrago V.
Yeah, we've seen before players go for the fire drill. We've called it the rolling iron. You roll, and then dive. You have the phantom dive to close out. This isn't exactly that plan. There weren't 2 Teal Mask benched, and that's Cali thinking ahead. You can't play down those 2 lower hit point Pokemon and have them all sweeped in a 6 prize turn. But putting this damage onto the Regidrago forces a little bit of action. You want to see the evolution now, but that's not where the energies want to go because of the damage. And you're also protected because of the rolling iron. It would have to be boss and Prime Catcher to retarget this Pokemon, which is so many resources.
Yeah, that is a lot of resources down, which is a bit scary when you're going into the late game of these turns. We've seen the Earthen Vessel now here from Cali to get those 2 energy out, discarding the Professor's Research, that 3rd energy onto the Teal Mask Ogre Pond to Teal Dance.
So many cards in hand, but they don't exactly line up with attacks.
It's all grass on the board.
All fire in the hand.
In the hand, yep. Fire in the hand, grass on the board. Teal Mask Ogre Pond's fully lined up, I guess.
Is that where you want to go, Boo?
Nope, that's not.
I don't think that's where Cali wants to go either. That's just a happenstance. The energies have all fallen there because we've needed an energy.
We've only had one.
A card each turn.
Yep. Got to draw some cards too. Ultra Ball is going to discard another Professor's Research and a Fire Energy from the hand out to get this V-Star. Regidrago V-Star finally on the board here for Cali. Super damaged Regidrago V, stuck in the active. Still there after that rolling iron from the Gudra.
You see energy. We see the boss's orders in hand. Is there a way to maybe draw a little more here? Two-Mask Ogerpon. Talk about the dangers of benching that Pokemon. Same with a Pokemon like Mew, but at this point, your opponent's already dedicated one major attack into a Pokemon that's not easily cleaned up.
Pheasantipity coming down as the option here off of the Nest Ball for Cali. Sort of protect the board here for potential disruption plays. It's going to be the Iono. This is the second Iono now here from Cali on the board. Both of our players still at 6 prize cards, so that's 6 cards in hand. But it was kind of the hand was dwindling down before for Cali, so this is a fresh 6. But you seen anything cool in that hand, Kyle?
Not particularly. And
there's a Dragapult,
I mean,
I guess.
I can't help but think about play style at a time like this. When you see Iono after Iono from Cali and crazy aggression here from Caleb, but this is where you have to flip the switch. You have to try to go for something here. You see the Legacy Star now.
Yeah, this is the Legacy Star, 7 cards here. Cali just trying to extend enough here to hold on in this game and keep up the momentum on the left side of our field, already having the first damage on board here. We're going to find the energy switch there in those top 7 cards and looking through the discard pile as well for the options. It's going to be an Iono back into the hand as the important resource here to retrieve off of the Legacy Star as far as Cali believes.
I don't know if there's a way to move this Pokemon from the active spot.
Yeah, it's kind of stuck.
I think there was a way. I think that there was a switch in the discard pile, but you just wanted to be taking a relevant knockout or even a good attack into this Regidrago. It involved having all the right cards, and instead it just looks like a Legacy Star that didn't do too much.
Yeah, that's a little bit awkward there. Just going to retrieve a couple resources, put it back in the hand, but that Regidrago V still remaining in the active. It has a very bulky 3 retreat cost on it. So it was damaged. It's only holding on by 20 HP there. And feels a little bit like Caleb is kind of getting handed a turn here. But is this a part of the grand master plan that's I don't know about here, Kyle, on Cali's side, or is this just a formula of just awkward card draws for Cali?
I don't think this is the plan. The cards haven't fallen in the right order. Maybe if the Prime Catcher was discarded by way of the Legacy Star, then you have an opportunity to do a pretty good attack on this previous turn, but we didn't see any of that. And now from Caleb, you don't want to waste an attack into this Regidrago V. It doesn't feel
20 HP.
Like you're accomplishing very much. So if boss's orders were to be found here, that'd be phenomenal, but the draws aren't lining up for that. It might just be rolling iron again.
Oh my gosh.
Holding on.
Yeah, get that reduction out there, get a couple of prize cards. Both of our opponents here are just sort of sticking their board states around and kind of seeing who makes the first misstep. Yeah, exactly. They're waiting for a turn to just capitalize. Professor's research. Look how thin the deck already is here for Caleb.
Yeah, like what, 4 cards?
Yeah,
like,
that's it. There's 6 prize cards left.
You start considering how accelerating energies for the rest of the game is going to be difficult because you can't afford to draw the card from your deck.
Yeah, that's a bit awkward. Gotta think of the late game here. You can't draw too much. You gotta hang on enough to at least take all your prize cards and win the game here. So, but I mean, there's already so many energy on the board as well. We've had this fully loaded Regidrago V-Star for a couple of turns now here for Caleb. One on the bench that already has 2 grass energy on it. That's going to be our first knockout here of the game. It only had 20 HP left, so Caleb's going to have to just hit into it once again with that rolling iron, of course, reducing the 80 damage on that Regidrago V-Star for Caleb. That's 2 prize cards down within the Ultra Ball and the Squawkabilly. Cali behind now as far as the prize cards go, but we're going to see if the cards can sort of start aligning here for Cali to swing the momentum over in their favor.
Well, Cali has a chance here if you can target down the benched Regidrago V-Star. That's a pretty big target that you could knock out with maybe a Giratina V-Star here. We don't see the Hisuian Gudra. It's in the prize cards this time around from Cali, so copying the rolling iron strategy, not going to happen.
Not an option.
but you know that you're just going to lose so many resources trying to do that. It's tough when Caleb threatens knockout at any point in time, and you just have to come up with a solution that seems inefficient.
Yeah, this is kind of awkward here. I guess this is how the mirror match can go, Kyle, between these Regidrago decks, huh?
It doesn't
like
line up as well as with against the Raging Bolt, when you can just sneak in your Radiant Charizard and have this single quick attack. If you don't have the prize cards to do just that, you have to attack with these 3 energy attacks. It's so many resources. It doesn't line up when your opponent's using the Rolling Iron, and it is tough.
It seems so much more high level as well, because each of your resources is so important here. And we see the strategy Cali has had of continuing on with the Iono disruption here. This time around, Caleb's only going to be drawing into 4 cards thanks to that 2 prize card knockout on the last turn. Cali's also going to have access to that flip the script because of that knockout.
I need a few more resources for next turn with the boss's orders, but what else can you do from this point? You don't have a great attack lined up. There is no prime catcher that we see.
Yeah, that's just so tough to see. Things just not aligning fully. The Regidrago V is going to come down onto the bench, at least for toward the end of this turn here for Cali. So the Regidrago V out on the field. We do still have the manual attachment for the turn. Grass, I mean, there's a lot of energy out here that we've been slowly accumulating over time on Cali's side, and slowly is the emphasis word here.
At this point, you just have to go in. Regidrago V-Star, mirror match, truly at this point. You don't have a knockout lined up. Maybe you can copy some other attack.
I like this though, Kyle. I like this moment. It feels like both these players have just been slowly building up their entire boards, and now things are going to start happening here between them. We're going to see a lost impact here. 2 grass energy going into the lost zone, hitting with that Giratina V-Star for 280, but reduced, of course, because of that Gudra V-Star.
Yeah, that's one you announce through your teeth.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it does not feel good. You don't have a prize card, and you just used one of the best attacks that's ever been made.
And it didn't do enough.
Yeah,
No!
It doesn't work here. Caleb has to be considering every resource at this point in time. Has another 2 prizes lined up with his own Giratina V-Star if he chooses to copy that this turn.
Yeah, it feels like we're gonna, this has all been sort of leading up to these last few turns here. Caleb, of course, leading in the prize race here. Gonna keep track of all of these resources that Cali's already utilized. The deck is looking pretty slim. Iono helped out a little bit with that, a slimmer hand for Caleb, but what's actually in the hand? What are we looking at? Ooh, I think it's double boss in the hand. Now single boss, because one's going to be used here to bring up this Pheasantipity EX. It's the draw outs that Cali White has here as far as the recovery goes. Dragapult is going to be the attacker this time around. Phantom Dive being copied off that Apex Dragon from that Regidrago V-Star that held on there by just 80 HP because of the protection from that Hisuian Gudra V-Star. And that Pheasantipity EX is now in the active, taking 200 damage, and we're seeing the spread of some damage counters around on the field as well from Caleb.
Yep, lining up for boss's orders knockout on either the Regidrago or the Teal Mask Ogre Pawn in combination with the Pheasantipity. Radiant Charizard math lines up well on the Regidrago V-Star. Cali avoids one of those issues.
Math.
Still have to worry about Teal Mask. That's not good.
Yep. Yeah, that is not good math, exactly. Once you see the damage counters starting going down from the Phantom Dive, that's when things get really sticky, because now you know you're on a timer here, because your opponent is now throwing damage out there and taking the offensive road against you. Cali's going to start off with this Teal Mask, Teal Dance for this grass energy.
We've seen plenty of Iono from Cali so far. The resources won't be there to disrupt the hand. Caleb playing around any of those issues by not taking prize cards, trying to set up checkmate-ish scenarios. And I think we see what checkmate looks like. Cali cannot find the answer this time around and will find themselves down 1-0 here in the opening of this top 4 match. Caleb Gedemer one step closer to finding another final table.
Hey, it's final boss Caleb here doing Caleb things, I suppose. Hey, maybe. So apparently the Shaman is his favorite Pokemon, Kyle.
That's fine.
It is a lucky one. You just don't like the art?
No, I don't like the card.
You don't like the card?
It's not a good card.
What you got against that Shaman level up?
It doesn't draw until you have 6.
But it's cute.
Okay, then.
Hey, well, that's a lucky Shaman here.
If there was ever a difference between you and I, it was established there. Is the card good or is it cute?
Yeah, that's so true. But Caleb had the luck of the Shaman on his side there because going to take a win in this set here for Caleb Gedemer, Cali White. I mean, you could just see it on their face in that shot, just kind of having to take a couple of breaths and figure out what went wrong there. What can I change going into this game 2? I mean, we saw on our bracket, all of our players went into game 3s. So is that going to be able to happen again here? Can Cali White reestablish something in this game 2? As far as going first or second, Caleb opted to go second in the first game. What do you think Cali is going to opt for here, Kyle?
Yeah, once you see that difference in our players.
Cali's choosing first.
Cali chose first in this matchup. Wants to play their own game now, and Caleb is saying, I wanted to go second. Okay, well, we will see how this works. Caleb currently up 1-0. He's not the only person up 1-0 in the room right now. Cal Connor in the top 4 up 1-0, trying to reach another final table too.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's so much on the line here for our players on our stream match and out in our field playing right now. But we are focused here on this match on our table right now because this is our game 2 between our players. Caleb's just one more game away from a 2-0 victory. Cali White's gonna have to fight back in this mirror match. Both players starting off with their Teal Mask Ogre Pontiacs in the active position. Prize cards here for Cali. Not looking too wild.
Yep, double Professor Research, which Cali has hinted as I'd rather use Iono anyways in a lot of my situations.
Professor Research, what?
I don't want to discard my resources. We do see the switch, however, which can be a pretty important resource at times, preserving some energies on the board.
Although we didn't see it brought out to switch out of the Regidrago V either.
Yep.
I mean, sitting back.
All right, maybe these prize cards are great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These are the ones Cali has not been using. So
I don't like any of these cards.
We'll see if the cards Cali wants to use are in the hand this time around. Kicking off our first turn. Of course, Earthen Vessel is a great way to start that out, to get these grass energy out. To be able to start drawing into some more cards off these Teal Mask Ogre Pawns. The Fire to establish for the turn onto a Regidrago V, if we can get there too for Cali. So hopefully everything's lining up here. What do you think the shift in strategy might be for Cali going into this game 2?
Well, you have an opportunity now to be the first player that uses Rolling Iron. And we've noticed that is a pretty good strategy. You can also get your opponent slacking at the beginning if they play down the double Teal Mask Ogre Pawn, if they have to extend and play some other V Pokemon like an early Pheasantipity as well. You can set up for that big 6-turn sweep. We don't see the Pheasantipity this time around, but maybe on Caleb's end, if he has the second Teal Mask and just goes too aggressive, you can take advantage of that.
Yeah, I don't think we flashed those prize cards on the screen yet, but Pheasantipity stuck in the prize cards there for Caleb Gedemer, as well as his own pair.
That's devastating for Caleb. I can't believe he has 2 research prizes. That's horrible.
Yeah, the way Caleb plays this deck is definitely a lot more turbo mode, as we've seen even in his previous stream match as well. We went super turbo there, and it kind of didn't work out too well in one of those games. But yeah, Caleb Gedemer stuck with the Pheasantipity EX on the top. Several discard cards in there. One of the Energy Switch, Super Rod, and a Grass there for the prize cards. Teal Mask Ogre Pawn of his own being utilized to Teal Dance into an additional card, and Nest Ball as well to get another Pokemon out. We saw Cali White before the end of last turn be able to play a Regidrago V, attach that Fire Energy.
Yeah, which is exactly what you want to do. Something that was missed on the previous game, and honestly speaks volumes to what you're capable of in the opening turns. Cali was on the back foot the entirety of the game, struggling against the aggression of Caleb, did not have the resources to come back. This time around, threatening a turn 2 attack, which is something that is certainly welcomed. And now for Caleb, has to find an answer. You have an opportunity to find a single prize Pokemon like that Cleffa and bring it into the active spot, and maybe consider seeing a few more resources with Ultra Ball and Iono. So certainly not done here. Plenty of game in this opening turn.
Gonna jot down some notes of what's in the prize cards for Caleb. All of those pivotal resources you got to keep track of. As you can see in the deck here, I mean, it's like it's energy, you got the switches, Pokemon are aligned, making sure that you can kind of keep track of everything you're missing, because that comes into play in these key strategies, especially when you're discarding so many of your resources. You can't afford to discard something that you're not able to then recycle for full utility later with the Legacy Star. Cleffa going to come out onto the field, as you said, Kyle, a little 30 HP buddy, joining us now into the Ultra Ball, discarding the Squawkabilly and the Pokestop to get a Regidrago V of his own for this initial setup.
Yep, Little Pink Guy and Little Pink Card are two of the most precious resources to see and have that early game with the grasping draw and that single prize that you give to your opponent, and then to break the rolling iron and use that prime catcher and maybe flip the script on your opponent and steal a prize they're not expecting. It can completely turn the tides. And look at this, an Iono.
Wow,
Caleb.
with a fresh, like there was no hands left. It was just that Iono.
It's kind of like a research for 6.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that's true. Research -1, I guess. Caleb also reshuffling Cali's hand, putting it at the bottom, and a fresh 6 cards over on the left side as well. But Iono, I mean, that was the last card in the hand. So now we have all of these other cards to mess with here. Regidrago V already being placed on the field with that fire energy attached. Ultra Ball going back into the deck to establish another Pokemon in this Teal Mask Ogerpon EX. That was one strategy we saw from Cali in the last game, to just hold out on one Teal Mask Ogerpon EX that whole game. This time around, Caleb's saying, nah, I like drawing cards.
I don't care about your plans. I'm going to do whatever I want. And this does walk into that play. If you have the double rolling iron into the Phantom Dive, you can take 6 prize cards in one turn. It's a lot to ask from your deck to have all of the right cards to switch your opponent over and over again. And Caleb doesn't care. He's got 3 Teal Mask Ogerpon. He's going to throw energies like crazy and treat this like a Raging Bolt that evolves.
Exactly. I mean, Caleb's used to playing Raging Bolts, I guess. We see sort of similar strategies there. Cleffa going to get a bunch more cards into the hand for Caleb. You draw up until you have 7 in the hand from that little Cleffa. Kyle, you said it was a pink guy and a pink card. Isn't that purple?
Are you really going to get into this? Maybe the card is purple. The guy is pink. It's a pink guy.
I was honestly asking because I'm colorblind. I was like, is it actually pink? Ultra Ball here for Cali to kick off this turn. Discarding some resources.
Oh, that's a good one. We already see Phantom Dive and Rolling Iron now.
Getting a little goo out. That is a purple Pokemon.
I'll give you that.
From what I can tell. Earthen Vessel discarding it straight away. And yeah, it's almost as if the strategies have sort of turned, except for Caleb is just super aggro, which is what we are lacking on the side of Cali in the last game, but also is because we just had so many awkward card draws. So this time around, we're going to see if it pays off for Caleb, but falling into the goo trap is what we're going to see coming up. First, we get to Teal Dance into, a pink card. Yep. A-Spec.
Maybe not the right time for it. This is a ton of energy and an Iono in hand. You want to take a knockout on, or at least to deal 200 damage at a point like this to a Teal Mask Ogerpon, protect yourself. But do you think you're going to find the right cards off of this Iono? You don't have them yet. Here we go.
Oh my gosh. I love the risks, though. Regidrago V coming up into the active position, as well as the mirror Regidrago V from that Prime Catcher being used. Iono is the next card up. We're going to see what Cali's able to draw into off these 6 cards. This is pretty big.
Ultra Ball, Regidrago V-Star, Energy Switch, any of these cards would be a huge benefit.
Last one. Oh, wow, it was both. The V-Stars there, too.
Okay.
And the Ultra Ball.
Big finds. I don't believe we've seen the teal dancing just yet, so an additional energy.
No, we did.
Okay, so we won't see that energy there. Maybe we should signify that.
It is on there.
No, but like it's
oh, you mean the coins? Yes. Yeah, on the field. That might be helpful. Hey, Legacy V-Star talking about help. This is
Where's
7
the
cards
energy
here.
Switch. We still don't see.
it?
Oh, the 7th
my gosh,
card.
the very last card here off the Legacy V-Star.
Oh, sweaty spaghetti.
That was very sweaty. I mean, I like it though. I like the Cali taking a lot of risk here in this turn, and so far it's paying off barely. Energy Switch being found here now.
Oh I get it. I get it. You love Iono, but that is a pink card. Prime Catcher, when your plan is probably a lot of rolling around, it seems great.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that, but we're seeing the play style Cali is choosing. I mean, I kind of trust Cali because
I do too. The track record says that this is going to go great, but there are opportunities here. For Caleb Gedemer, he has the Prime Catcher. If he goes Boss's Orders and has the energies to move around, he can deny the Rolling Iron. He can bring up his own Regidrago V-Star, and he could potentially knock this Pokemon out with an attack from a Giratina V-Star. There's ways to remove this Pokemon and leave just a single Terra in play on Cali's end.
Oh, yeah, that would be tough. Terra Orb searching out that Dragapult EX, another target that is fantastic off of that card.
This is, I mean, it is Prime Catcher and Boss in hand already. I didn't see the rest of the resources, but with Legacy Star, obviously the Regidrago V-Star to go along with that potentially, you can never count this hand out. Never.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Oh,
sorry, Kyle.
So much. Yes, we can add on that Connor has defeated Vincent Owen.
The Raging Bolt's gone. It's gone, Kyle.
Raging Bolt is gone. It will be Regidrago mirror match in the finals, but we've got a big spot here.
Here we go.
The Legacy Star is used. I did not see Energy Switch.
Yeah.
I don't see any Energy Switch.
I don't see any either. I don't think I saw one in the hands. I don't think there's any. I mean, I would assume it'd be being put to the front if it was even in the discard pile. It's not.
Oh my goodness.
Caleb uses the Legacy Star V-Star power, and we don't have an Energy Switch. Or the Vessel. Yeah, I mean, at this point, what do you take off of the 2 cards
Things
from the
that can get you
pile?
Energy Switch. Earthen Vessel can find you energy cards. Thin out. You can draw with your Teal Mask Ogre Pawns. And then you can use Pokestop.
Pokestop away.
You're trying to find 2 Energy Switch. You didn't find any just yet.
A Pokestop and a dream.
I mean, does this speak to Caleb or not? I mean,
I think it does.
To throw away 7 cards to find more cards that throw away cards? Sign me up.
Caleb's having a good time.
No, he's not.
Depending on how this ends up, Kyle. All right?
Yeah, I think he's having a horrible time, but he's going to keep going.
No, he just keeps going through it.
This could work.
Caleb, most aggro player I know. Ultra Ball here, discarding the Dragon Ball EX and the Fire Energy.
I would immediately look at the top of the deck to see how close I was to Energy Switches.
I don't know. You can't.
Do see.
Listen, you got to shuffle up anyway. Don't live in the past, Kyle. Live in the future.
Well, the future has some energies, 2 of them to be exact. Giratina in the discard pile, so you have access to the Lost Impact, Prime Catcher, and the Boss's Orders. Can you find 2 Energy Switches off these collective 5 cards that I think we'll see here?
I believe in the dream here. This is our first Teal Dance. 1 card to the hands. It's a nest ball. All right, Pokestop is going to come into play as our stadium between these players. Caleb is going to roll it here. Discard, and that's an Energy Switch.
There's still a chance.
There is still a chance. Regidrago V-Star, that was in the hand here for Caleb coming out.
Oh, he has energy for the turn, of course. He can just do this with the active. He has the Cleffa.
Yeah, we're thinking it's going on the Ogre Pawns, and it's not.
He can dedicate it to this damaged Pokemon. He has the Prime Catcher. He can Boss's Orders, bring this Pokemon right back up. Lost Impact for a devastating knockout on a Rolling Ironed Regidrago V-Star. The effect is no longer in play, and neither is this Regidrago V-Star.
Oh, that is incredible here. Caleb is able to make it happen. on our stage here, that prime catcher, the Cleffa free retreats. Now we're seeing the lost impact of the discard of these grass energy, taking the knockout. It's not being debuffed by anything here as far as this Regidrago V-Star. That's the first 2 prize cards Caleb Gedemer gets, and Cali is just left with this teal mask Ogerpon.
Hey man, where's my whole deck? I needed this Regidrago V-Star for a few more turns. I've had Rolling Iron. I did everything I was supposed to do. And what do I have to show for it? I'm probably going to attack with this Teal Mask Ogerpon for a knockout. And yes, that helps a little bit, but you have to establish some board here.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of tough to look out. I think you can see it here for Cali. This is such an obstacle to have to work out of. We have just this Ogerpon on the board.
Your opponent has used 1 energy switch for the...
You've already used your Legacy Star.
Right, and so many resources were tossed away to get to that Rolling Iron spot so that you could hang out for additional turns. We did not see it because all the resources were there for Caleb. And now it's about finding the basic Pokemon, using Iono, trying to slow down your opponent, but even then, their hand isn't that strong. You just need to continue to push forward.
Yeah, I mean, this is Masters top 4 here. You're already down a game. You have to do everything in your power to hang on here in this matchup. I believe in Cali to be able to do that. Earthen Vessel going to discard this Ultra Ball, get some energy out. I mean, what are the best routes here for Cali to take at this point, Kyle? I mean, if all the cards go their way.
Right. The simplest is you just have a knockout ready to go on the active Pokemon. Once you have that, the board states could look pretty similar. There's not much else that's needed other than finding some basic Pokemon so that you can continue on. There's a chance that Caleb can go pure aggression right back in with his own Teal Mask Ogerpon and win the game outright if we don't see more Pokemon here.
Yeah, it's almost as if we're taking this turn by turn here, because you never know what's going to happen until you start to see things unfold. Pheasantipity EX, of course, going to help us out a little bit here. Flip the script into these 3 cards.
Yep. Using the ability before the Nest Ball to try to find some additional Pokemon, then using the Nest Ball to search out again.
Yeah, into that Teal Mask Ogerpon. No Regidrago in sight here, Kyle. Just Ogerpons all day.
I think there's 1 in hand.
Yeah, there is 1 in hand. We have the Teal Dance here for an additional card. Oh, what was it? Oh, it was the Clef, I think. Regidrago V. We did have the energy switch as well from the Iono that happened in this turn for Cali. It's going to allow for that grass energy to be swapped over here. And that's the knockout there on that heavily damaged Regidrago.
We're getting close to the wet noodle war. Where
no.
both opponents have used all of their resources in this early stages. The legacies are gone.
Yeah, that's true.
You just try to find knockouts. If it doesn't include multiple energy switches, it's Teal Mask attacking in.
Yeah. Myriad Leaf Shower all day long. We're showering in leaves today here, Kyle. I mean, look how many green Ogerpons are on the field right now.
Look how many were in top cuts.
Yeah, that's true.
It's 7 decks
They're
featuring this card. They're everywhere.
And they're both going to be in the finals as well. It's just who is going to be piloting this one. That's the question. Oh, my gosh.
Well, for Caleb, this hand doesn't get much sweeter. You don't need much energy cards to keep attacking. Well,
There's one energy card.
Energy switch is in hand.
A couple are in the lost zone. The other energy switches in the prize cards still.
Has the Mew to draw the hand back up.
Yeah, our support.
Focus stop if you want to get a little crazy.
A little bit crazy. Mew EX coming down here. Can restart up to 3 cards in the hands for the draw. There's 2 still left here for Caleb, but we have a grass energy and an energy switch in the hands. Just deciding where to take this.
Yeah, the decision I suppose you'd want to see after you draw the additional resource. It's not a good one.
The Kyurem?
Kyurem added to the hands. A card you can't move.
Can't thin that one.
To draw with the restart. If you play the energy switch, are you committing to the Regidrago V-Star?
Yeah,
Spin
that is.
the wheel first. You draw a card with your Mew. All of these small decisions, these small percentages are piling up.
I know. I want to hear what's going through Caleb's head right now. Is going to utilize that energy switch, switching a grass over to the Regidrago V-Star to draw into 2 cards. It's an Ultra Ball.
Ooh,
and it was Super Rod?
Super Rod is pretty great. There were no energies in the deck at that point.
Yeah, all 4 Earthen Vessel have been used there for Caleb.
I was saying, could I draw into any of these off the Pokestop? Because I will spin that wheel.
You know I'll be spinning it. Oh, Caleb, I do not envy you. These are such difficult and intricate decisions. Gonna roll that Pokestop, discarding of Boss's Orders and the Radiant Charizard into the discard pile. Netting us a nest ball. I almost said netball. Netted a netball.
It netted the ball.
It netted a ball indeed. Grasping draw here to draw up. Look how thin that deck is for Caleb Gedemer, drawing up to 7 cards in the hand now from that Cleffa. That means we're over to Cali now. After we took it slow, we just have a bunch of grass on the board. Fire in the hand for Cali.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a way to move the active Pokemon just yet. That's the big key here, but honestly, if you have a Regidrago V-Star and you use Rolling Iron, you'd feel really good at this spot. There's no way your opponent's knocking out the active Pokemon anymore. There's a few ways to feel comfortable and take the advantage here now after Caleb missed out big in that previous turn.
Yeah, it is kind of sad to see that the switch was in the prize cards too from Cali at the beginning of the game. It's still there. It's at the top, so still chilling. Cleffa going to come down onto the field, right to the left. Here, the energy switch. We had already the energy attachment from the hand onto this Regidrago V. Super Rod of Cali's own here to get some energy back as well. I mean, this is really the battle of the resources at this point in time. Who can maintain a board state? We see that Fire Energy being selected as the only card from the Super Rod. Was debating the Regidrago V-Star. It's going to remain in the discard pile.
It does not go for the Regidrago V-Star, which I was expecting to see just increase your odds of drawing into that Pokemon. And these decisions also could have been held off on until the use of the Pokestop too, if there was access to Ultra Ball. Either way, 7 cards. Cali likes her chances of finding the Regidrago V-Star right now.
Yeah, that research gonna help out. What do we see? Is it in the hand? I can't see. Yes, it is. Regidrago V-Star is found off that professor's research into 7 cards. That's going to get us an attacker out here for Cali.
Yeah, Cali has the Ultra Ball along with the Giratina V-Star too, so plenty of options at this point.
Is that like all of our attackers now?
It's
in the discard?
Looking pretty good.
Looking good. We got options here. Kyle, we have diversified our stocks.
And there's plenty of opportunity here now to either take this prize card you don't love and stick around with the Rolling Iron, or since you've counted out your opponent's resources and it's really hard for them to switch, you could draw a little more.
It's the battle of the Cleffas.
Do it, you won't.
Yes, exactly. It's just a Cleffa in the active here for Cali and a Cleffa in the active for Caleb. They're both being utilized here back to back as these boards kind of shape up for both of our players. Now we're back over to Caleb.
That might be a pretty solid resource to find. Superior energy retrieval in a spot like this. Plenty of cards to be seen, but can you afford to draw with the Teal Mask Ogre Pawn?
These energy are going to the hand here for Caleb off that super clutch superior energy retrieval. Quick 2 discards, Kyurem hitting the discard pile, as well as I believe research into these energy back into the hand. Retrieved not to the deck, straight to the hand. Only, what is that, 2 cards left in the deck. 2 cards left in the deck. That is quite the timer. Eyeing up that energy switch in the hands that Caleb has already. It's going to be the Teal Dance into one of the 2 cards in the deck into a nest ball. What?
I mean, there is Super Rod in hand. There's
yeah,
a way
that's
to
true.
continue to play this game.
What's the other card in the deck? What are we missing?
That's a great question. I don't think it's the Prime Catcher
Nope.
or any of those other ways to move Pokemon. That's the big issue here is that Cleffa can hang around.
Well, we see the energy switch now, switching that energy on to the Regidrago V-Star, manually attaching the fire energy. It's fully charged up now to Apex Dragon. Cleffa jumping out of the active with the free retreat. Caleb Gedemer now has this Regidrago V-Star to be able to utilize its attack, but just phasing off the little 30 HP Cleffa.
Yep. There's not much else that you need to do.
Taking a knockout there. That's another prize card down for Caleb. So sad to see the little Cleffa get a couple of punches in there, and it's in the discard pile now. Energy switch found for Caleb off of the prize cards as well. Cali over here on this side starting off the turn, nest balling into some fails here for Cali to thin these nest balls out of the way. We see Radiant Charizard in the hand. Regidrago V, double Boss's Orders into this flip the script.
Wow, one card left on Cali's side as well. After flipping the script, Charizard is found.
This is truly like a chess match almost. It's just it's a give or take for both of these players. But it's going to end in a very rapid conclusion here soon between one of them. It's just which way is it going to go? Radiant Charizard's now on the field with a fire energy attached. Think that changes things around, Kyle?
I mean, it's another viable option. We see the Boss's Orders targeting the Mew, which is so impactful, using Rolling Iron, taking a knockout on a Pokemon, taking two prize cards, but also preserving the hit points on the active. Seems so great. Charizard would be able to close out with the second Boss's Orders. Cali is looking like things are moving up here.
Exactly. Everything was able to be used for its full potential there. Taking the two prize cards on that knockout of the Rolling Iron. You have the damage reduction in place. The Mew EX has been wiped off the field now. Caleb just re-promoting this Cleffa into play. Now we're back over onto this side. Everything's coming down to this too. I mean, it feels almost like we're in a game 3 here, but this is just our game 2 between these players.
Right. And speaking of that, we've had 2 games. Both have lasted at 25 minutes.
Time.
We're at that point where the 75 minutes is so impactful. It gives these players a great opportunity to show us the full extent of what their deck is capable of. Caleb fighting for his life at this point. Yes. 3 prize cards remaining, but there is not a clean avenue there.
Yeah, Super Rod being utilized here to go through this discard pile, recycling Pokemon or energy. It's going to be that Radiant Charizard, the Mew EX that was just took a knockout in the last turn, as well as the Fire Energy. Let's shuffle those back in. That's the deck. Shuffling them into the non-existent deck.
Yep, they became the deck.
It became the deck, yes. Caleb Gedemer holding on for another day to just get some cards into the deck. Cleffa, of course, bouncing back onto the bench, allowing this Regidrago V-Star to come up here.
Caleb says, please prize the boss. It is there. Cali holding on to the magic resource to get the job done here in game number 2. We will get exactly what we're looking for here. A big game 3 and this classic mirror match. Who's going to go first?
Yeah, that is the question here because Caleb opted to go second in the first game, then just happened to go second in the first game. Cali wanting to go first. Now, yeah, it's going to be up to this. Caleb is going to get that choice this time around. I'm curious to see if that'll change up or still go for second. Let's take a look at that game 2 because it was a long one here between our players. I mean, I feel like it was really a game of chicken, as I said, this whole time.
Yeah, there was a little more to it as far as using the Legacy Stars super early in this game, trying to find opportunities to take advantage of spots from your opponent. Big play from Caleb to find the Prime Catcher, Boss's Orders, remove the Rolling Iron, and take a knockout. But for Cali, it was pretty simple from that point. You have the knockout because the second energy switch wasn't there from Caleb. clean knockout on the Regidrago by way of the Terra Pokemon, and from there on, we saw this strategy. Boss's orders on the Mew, Rolling Iron was used. You cannot knock this Pokemon out. Caleb just has to attack into it. Boss is held for Game 3 potential.
It was just showed off there, and Caleb knew exactly what that meant. Well, we're going to a Game 3 between these players. It's a mirror match. It is just a slugfest here between Regidrago V-Star, but Cali felt super comfortable going into this matchup here and has held on strong. We're going into this Game 3. We've seen the strategies on both sides. I will say Cali did give us a little bit of give in that Game 2. Were you happy about it, Kyle?
It was a great game. We saw Cali go a little quicker that time around, and we see, my goodness, going first, Caleb choosing to go second. It is the Prime Catcher, the Hisui Gudra, and the Squawkabilly, and starting the Kyurem.
Starting the Kyurem. Gudra, that has been so pivotal to both of these players, stuck at the top of the prize cards. Squawkabilly not able to be utilized, which I don't, did we even see that in either of our games from our players? But still, another thing, the pink card, the Prime Catcher, and an energy switch up there in the prize cards as well. I mean, that's pretty tough to see from Caleb's side. Over on Cali's side, look at this.
All the weird stuff,
what
you know?
That's a lot of Pokemon.
If you ever needed to copy one of the goofy attacks, they're gone. That might be pretty good, honestly, to not see those.
True.
But unfortunate, the pink guy.
Yes, the pink little Cleffa that we have seen so much for both of our players. It adds that level of protection, just a little one prizer. It gets you those cards. It allows you to establish your board state over time as well, but it's in the prize cards. It is at the bottom here for Cali, but not to be utilized earlier on in these games. Pheasantipity was also the start here for Cali. Of course, definitely not as bad as that Kyurem in the active for Caleb.
No. Certainly not going to complain when you see the active Pokemon there for Caleb. And we've seen the mid-game grasping draw. It's not that bad. So seeing that Pokemon at the bottom, I'm not
or
too
the
sad
late
about
game.
Yeah, or the last turn.
Late game.
Whatever you want to do.
Exactly. I'm really curious to see how this goes, because I feel as if you're weighing the prize cards, Caleb definitely has the way more difficult prize cards to have to work through as an obstacle, and a pretty difficult start. So I'm hoping that the rest of the starting hand for Caleb is super good to try to compensate a little bit for that there. But Cali was able to get this Teal Mask Ogerpon down onto the board with a Grass Energy attached already for the turn. Has a Prime Catcher in the hand, in the starting hand. Ultra Ball is going to be utilized here, getting rid of a Boss's Orders and an Earthen Vessel. Going down first turn to just get this Regidrago V established.
Right, and we saw there was a chance to use that Earthen Vessel, throw away those energies. This is not a list where you see the superior energy retrieval, so discarding those energies is not going to be a benefit for you. So throw that card away. Something to establish that Regidrago V is all you need at this point. It threatens the turn 2 attack and puts Caleb on the back foot, starting with that Kyurem.
Yeah, starting with the Kyurem. At least we have some cards to work with here in this starting hand. Earthen Vessel, discarding this Regidrago V-Star, get us some energies out, but Cali...
That's not the dragon Pokemon you want.
Yeah, that's quite sad, Kyle. I mean, what's another obstacle in Caleb's way, right?
Right.
You're already working up against the worst
He's about to
thing
find
ever.
out the worst news, which is, I mean, you don't have very much to work with for the rest of this game, but the hand is manageable. It needs a couple more basic Pokemon, honestly. There were chances for fireworks if we saw multiple Teal Mask Ogerpon here along with the Regidrago.
One's stuck in the prizes, limiting that a little bit there. But yeah, we need to see some Pokemon established here for Caleb. I mean, Cali was able to get at least the basics down on that first turn.
Yep, not much that you need to ask for on Cali's side. You got the evolution.
That energy switch, yeah.
You're holding on to some good resources, but for Caleb, it looked like there were a few energies in there and maybe access to one basic Pokemon. So after you search out these energies, you're kind of left with a difficult choice.
Yeah.
How do you go about this? Usually it's search Squawkabilly and go, but it depends on what the supporter is in hand, if any.
No Squawkabilly this time around. So sad when we needed him the most. He evaded us.
It's just squawking over
Yeah,
there in
and
the prizes.
I think the last 2 cards as well in Cali's hand is a Professor's Research and the Prime Catcher. So that's pretty cool for Cali.
Pretty cool indeed.
It's pretty cool. Ultra Ball here, discarding that second Earthen Vessel that was in the hand for Caleb, as well as a Grass Energy, Teal Mask, Ogre Pawn. Coming out doing Ogre Pawn things.
Give yourself the opportunity to get lucky. He's got the energy in hand. He has the energy switch.
He's got Shaman on his side.
So if Shaman can find a basic Pokemon that would like energy, this would be the time.
Here we go. It's an Ultra Ball.
That works.
Yeah, that actually does work. Thanks, Shaman.
Actually, it doesn't work.
Oh, wait, there's not
enough
cards?
You lose the energy switch.
Oh, no.
I mean, we'll take the Pokemon before the research, but
Yeah, that's true.
We got to be more specific.
Yeah, I guess so, for what we ask for. Like, wait, I thought I helped you out. Nope. It's the Ultra Ball here, having to discard that energy switch. You want to be using it, not discarding it, especially when you already have so much working against you in the prize cards. Fire Energy also discarded off of that. And Regidrago V is going to be the Pokemon off this Ultra Ball. It is literally the Pokemon that we need.
It'll work out just fine. And knowing where that energy switch is can be nice, too. When you go for the Legacy Star and you're not worried about finding the right card. Hey, pink guy.
Hey, buddy. You're not in the prize cards, I guess. This time, only on Cali's side. Well, the Professor's Research after the Regidrago V coming down. Second Regidrago V. As we said, a bunch of Pokemon in the prize cards. Didn't get to see some Squawkabilly action. Just the grass coming down for the manual attachment onto that Regidrago V on the bench. And that's going to be the turn here for Caleb.
Yep, no other resources to help out on that opening turn. Cali, download as much as you can from that opening turn.
Yeah.
Plenty of resources tried to be used effectively. It just turned into not much. But you have the Regidrago, and now there's a chance for Cali. If you can target that Pokemon, remove energy from play, that's pretty good. You can also focus on the one without, as you've seen an energy switch used. Giddy up.
Giddy up, Prime Catcher going to start us off, bringing that Regidrago V into the active. Professor's Research going to help out quite a bit here. Fresh 7 cards for Cali to be able to use. We need to see a V-Star here. Can get some Teal Dance action happening. We do see the V-Star off of this Professor's Research and a Grass Energy. Nest Ball as well. I mean, these are all pretty solid, and an energy. Wow. Look at his hands.
Okay, sign me up.
That's a lot.
Yep, certainly some potential here now, but also not sure of just how many dragon Pokemon we have to copy at this point of the game, too.
That is a good point. There hasn't been that much that's been played. The research was played, but it wasn't discarding any resources, actually. It was the last card in the hand. So Nest Ball is going to be able to be brought out here to get a Pokemon on the bench for Cali. Just missing a couple pieces in the hand. Both these players going to have to really focus out. I mean, think about this. This is our game 3. Under 15 minutes left on the clock. This has been so much Pokemon that's been played through between these players.
Yeah. And where do you go from here? Like for Cali,
what is this? You're just missing like a little bit.
Yeah, you're trying to give yourself opportunities to build up some attackers, put some aggression on Caleb, but not overextend because we've seen his propensity to punish.
Yeah, Caleb's good at that. That's for sure. Regidrago V-Star coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. We're gaming, Kyle. We see the Legacy Star. Gudra going to hit the discard pile here for Cali as a Dragon Pokemon. That's 1. And then Cali's also going to recycle 2 resources here. The Prime Catcher being the first one. It was already utilized. This turn, it's coming back out for Cali to be able to recycle once again.
Yep, arguably the best card to see off of those 7 was the Hisuian Gudra V-Star.
Beautiful.
To have that Pokemon in the discard pile, to copy Rolling Iron, put your opponent in that ridiculous spot once more where they would need to find Prime Catcher Boss's orders, all the energies for a Giratina V-Star knockout. Ruh-roh.
Ruh-roh, that's the situation that we're in here, Kyle. Gudra is going to help us out quite a bit there, thanks to that Legacy V-Star power. There's a reason you can only use one V-Star power. That's why you have that little token to flip over every game, because they are powerful, as well as these energy switches in this specific deck to get these Regidrago V-Star attacking as soon as possible here. We're going to see that canceling Cologne come out here. Regidrago V-Star attacking with that rolling iron into this Regidrago V. 20 HP left on it. The 80 reduction on the Regidrago V-Star on Cali's side. And Caleb, I mean, Kurim's just chilling on the bench.
Right, and there's no answer this time around. It's just boss's orders in the hand, prime catchers in the prize cards. So attacking into this Pokemon is inevitable unless you want to just avoid it, which seems like not the greatest plan. It's pretty good. It's a good attacker over there.
Yep.
How do you do this at this point? If you have your own rolling iron to copy, that'd be great, but that's not a play either with
also
the prizes.
Prize cards.
So many things against Caleb at this point.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the prize cards. They are so bad here. The Prime Catcher, the Gudra at the top, the Energy Switch. We didn't get to use the Squawk ability to draw to have a more pivotal turn one. The Ogre Pawn stuck in there as well. It's not good here for Caleb. Every strategy that you'd want to employ as Caleb Gedemer is working against him. And now, I mean, you have a Kurim on the bench just clogging things up as well.
Right, and if you attach too many energy to the Regidrago V-Star, attack in with this, that resource is likely to be wiped off the board by way of lost impact. You don't have Rolling Iron to protect yourself. Seems like a turn where you have to attack with a Teal'c's Ogre Pawn, something to just soften this Pokemon up. It's just not pretty.
It is not.
But you can't afford to lose a resource like Regidrago V-Star.
But then you get knocked out, you lose a bunch of energy, and then maybe, I mean, no matter which way you go, it's just, you're climbing an uphill battle here for Caleb Gedemer, sadly. Maybe we just see things go much slower here for Caleb, or see the attachment here, the fire energy onto the Regidrago V for Caleb. But I mean, it's a tale of two stories here. Cali White is doing all of the Regidrago things. I mean, we found what we needed off the V-Star power, which was great. Even though we kind of looked like we were in a pickle there, and Caleb is just not having anything aligned here. We already have damage on board here, and we were not able to establish any real strategy. Jamming towers being put into play to cancel the 0 tool cards out on the field, and Cali is passed over to now to continue with the momentum here in this match.
Right, and there's an opportunity to really start to hammer in at this point. You have the Prime Catcher. If you target down the other Regidrago V and use Rolling Iron, you're putting so much pressure on Caleb. Evolving that Pokemon doesn't feel great. You're still not taking a knockout at that stage. You could switch the strategy up and just go back for the Teal'c Ogre Pawn and then have a huge Pokemon knockout with the dive. So it's tricky to see where you want to go here. It's just, there's so many options when your opponent just doesn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that can be just as important as the player who's kind of playing from ahead in a match, is like where you go, because one slip up could all start to slip away here. But if Cali chooses to make these decisions down the line, things could start to look even more grim, if that was even possible here for Caleb Gedemer. But Cali is going to be using that Prime Catcher that was recycled already with the Legacy Star.
Now this is just knocking each other in a phone booth, punching back and forth, rolling iron into these Pokemon. It just doesn't feel great to be on the receiving end of that. You could also try to go for a knockout at this stage. It's not a V-Star, so it's not too much of an extension of your resources, but I don't know if we have a Pokemon that hits the right numbers here. Knowing Cali, it's been a lot of rolling iron here, and just saying, I'm going to make you have to overextend if you want to do anything relevant.
Exactly. Which, I mean, pretty darn good, as we've seen as a strategy in this specific matchup. The mirror match, UEX, free retreat, hopping back out of the active after that Prime Catcher into this ready to attack Regidrago V-Star into this Regidrago V. A similar story as to what we've already seen from that poor Regidrago V on the bench. Now we have two heavily damaged unevolved Regidrago for Caleb Gedemer, 80 reduction that he's facing off against, and a very well-established board state Cali White has been able to get away with in this match.
It feels, this is so bad for Caleb, almost wanting to be knocked out at that point, because at least there'd be a chance to knock out the Regidrago V-Star. But there's another one being charged up on the bench here for Cali.
I need
no
a healthy
damage
one
on this side of the board.
Exactly. Oh, it just gets scarier every single turn that passes by as Cali's able to just play from an extremely dominant position. As Caleb Gedemer's just hanging on by a thread here as this Regidrago V-Star deck of his is dismantled almost by the prize cards and several other unfortunate events so far in this matchup. Boss's Order is going to be played for Caleb after the manual attachment of a Grass Energy here to bring up this Regidrago V-Star.
Looking for a way to find a possibility back into the game. You bring up a Pokemon that doesn't have an attack lined up ready just yet. Your opponent has already used a Legacy Star. Is there a chance that you can leave this Pokemon in the active spot? We need some help.
Look at that. Dragon Laser here. 130 damage to that active Regidrago V-Star. As we see from the attack from the Regidrago V, it's not a V-Star, but it's doing something here. It's carrying a little bit of weight for Caleb Gedemer, as well as the damage onto the bench in that Fezidipity EX.
Plenty of opportunity here for Cali. The professor's research in hand, so 7 more cards to find a way to move this Pokemon or an energy switch to attack with this Pokemon. Either one would do wonders. I'm not seeing it just yet. All right. Added into the hand at the very end was that energy switch to help out.
That's pretty nice, Kyle. Shaping up real good over here on the left side of
just
the
how we
field.
drew it up.
Teal Mask here from both of our Ogre Pun, or I mean Teal Dance, I should say, from the Teal Mask themselves. Energy switching over onto this Regidrago V-Star. It's fully charged up once again with these 2 Grass Energy and that Fire as well.
I like seeing the final energy switch being used as the one to pull off the attack. It was played straight from the hand after that final card was drawn. And it could just add to the frustration for Caleb, thinking maybe I was going to get away this turn. Instead now, I don't have that answer. I also don't expect to see another energy switch next turn, but who knows if that will be relevant. This is just brutal for Caleb.
I know. It almost is really difficult to watch because things just aren't going his way here. But if you're sitting behind the chair or in the chair that Cali is, you're feeling great here in this position as the Regidrago V-Star takes the first knockout, but it's the first knockout after so much has happened in this game already, applying so much pressure with the damage counters that have gone down already onto the field for Caleb. Caleb hasn't really been able to establish anything to even start to play a little bit more offensively. Is this turn going to be any help, Kyle, at all for Caleb?
I mean, you're trying to find an opportunity to creep back in. The prize exchange seems like something that could be a benefit for you at some point, but taking advantage of a card like Radiant Charizard is difficult here. Your opponent's only taken 2 prizes, so it requires a bunch of energy switching, just resources that you don't have available unless you use your Legacy Star, and we don't love seeing that. There is a benefit of having the Regidrago here, but you have to find the right attacker to copy. That's not happening. We have not seen Rolling Iron here in quite some time. It's all been prized.
We won't see it, which is the detrimental part here. Such a great strategy in the mirror match that's unavailable for Caleb, but the Legacy Star is enabled here now on that Regidrago V-Star here. We're choosing what we're getting out of the discard pile to Fire Energy off of the Legacy Star. Kyle's face bombing back here.
What other spots do you have at this point? I'm looking for even. You would want Kieran for a Trifrost to maybe set up a 6 prize turn with the Mew, the Fezandipity, and the Regidrago that's damaged, but it's on your bench.
Yeah, he's on a break.
That doesn't work.
He's on a break right now.
You don't have a good Pokemon to copy in your discard pile.
Yeah, could we scoop him up or something?
This is the hardest mode we've seen for Reggie Drago.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Reggie Drago V-Star, unfortunately, with this many, in this specific matchup with this many obstacles in the way. Looks like it was between the boss's orders and the energy switch, but has to go for the energy switch here just to be able to pull something off with this Reggie Drago V-Star as the Radiant Charizard also hits the field.
What Pokemon is left in here to copy?
Exactly. Oh, Caleb's hanging on.
It's Dragon Laser.
Yep, 30. Dragon Laser, as we just saw from the attacking Reggie Drago V, now it's just...
Oh, no, okay, it's Phantom Dive.
Oh, okay.
I was worried. That's a little more help. It's not going to be a knockout because of
That's
the
more
Bowling
damage
Iron,
here.
But it's a little more damage to add to the board.
More damage indeed. I mean, yeah, the debuff of the 80 there, the Phantom Dive being debuffed a little bit, but that's going to be 6 damage counters out on the field. Of course, the Pheasantipity already had some from the previous Dragon Laser, so we're slowly building up the damage counters over on Cali's side from Caleb. He's doing everything to stay in this game here right now. Cali, of course, was first to the prize cards, but look at all those damage counters now out on the field. Is there a way that Caleb can start to turn things around here? But Cali's going to choose for the disruption in this turn with this Iono.
Right, and for Cali, this is probably the last turn that you can incorporate this card to a benefit. And you're going to be taking some prize cards and taking big knockouts and then trying to close out the rest of the game. Boss's orders on Pokemon like that Reggie Drago V. So you can inch your way closer to that result. You're feeling comfortable. The Pheasantipity seems like a card that's going to be a benefactor. If you have a way to flip the script, draw additional resources, get yourself closer to that boss, it'd be great. Mew can help too.
Mew, come in clutch here with the restarts.
Find a bunch of random Pokemon I don't need.
Yeah, that's not gonna help us out too much. Oh, we're seeing the energy here now being discarded to the Lost Impact, copying the Giratina V-Star that's moved to the top of the discard pile here. It's a knockout there, clean knockout. Unfortunately, that's not what you want to see if you're Caleb Gedemer, but that's perfect math on that Reggie Drago V-Star. 2 more prize cards for Cali. 1 step closer to closing things out in this game 3 and advancing into the finals potentially for Cali. Is Caleb able to pull something off here, pull out a miracle at this point in time, Kyle?
Looking for some help. He finds a few energies with the superior energy retrieval. You have an attack with the Radiant Charizard. Does not line up well into this Pokemon, but thankfully you are only giving up 1 single prize. The issue is you have a heavily damaged Reggie Drago V, so some disruption here in Iono would be very welcomed.
Yeah, when your prize cards are at such a deficit here, that's always great. Radiant Charizard ready to attack with just that fire energy, having to be placed down on it to apply for its energy cost. Boss's orders is going to be the supporter play here for Caleb to bring up this Reggie Drago V-Star. That's going to get a lot more utility out of this because it had that 30 damage thanks to the Phantom Dive earlier. Combustion Blast doing 250. That's perfect math on the other side here for Caleb, knocking out this Reggie Drago V-Star, taking 2 prize cards of his own in the Nest Ball and Teal Mask Ogerpon.
Yeah, pretty reluctant head shake there from Caleb. Did not find the resources he was looking for, but did take the knockout. And now an opportunity here for Cali. Finds the boss's orders of all cards.
The boss's orders, and that's going to be it. That's all Cali needed here to bring up that Reggie Drago V. Take the last 2 prize cards in this game. You hate to see it turn out like that, Kyle, when the prize cards were working against Caleb, when the initial start was working against Caleb. But Cali absolutely proved themselves in this mirror match.